Hey yo, it's Lano and welcome back to another episode of Solely Survival. In last episode, we completely transformed our starter island and I honestly have fallen in love with this. You can see a patch of potatoes over here that I have harvested because, well, food. This steak is not going to last forever. But other than that, yeah, this island looks exactly the way I want it and I am just thrilled with it. But there's another little thing that I want to do, and by little thing, I do mean little thing. It's just a small build, and I'm thinking I'm going to put it over there, but I will get to that here in a second. I kind of want to just talk a little bit about what I'm thinking with the world currently. So, in last episode, I touched a little bit on some ideas that I have, but I don't know, I just kind of sat here for a couple of hours and just kind of brainstormed some ideas, and I've got some things that I really want to do now. So, just taking a look around the world, you can see that we've got a lot of open area to work with. By open area, I mean this area over here, this area back here, and then I've still got to fill in all of this, but the more that I look at all of this, I'm thinking there could just be a huge city going all the way around here at some point. Just some sort of like medieval metropolis or something. I don't know. We'll see what happens there, but I kind of have a few ideas, and I'm thinking that I think that'll be pretty fun. I don't really know exactly what I plan to do out there just yet. That's going to be kind of a large-scale project that will go later on throughout the season. But what I want to do right now is get started on just a little build out here. And again, I do mean little. So one thing that I don't have just yet in this world is a mending villager. And I'm going to need mending at some point. You can already see that my sword has seen better days. But, I mean, nothing that I have has got mending on it. Absolutely nothing, and I'm gonna need it. And I think today is the day that we change that, and what I've got envisioned is like a little medieval house kind of out here somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where, not exactly sure how I'm going to orient it or anything like that. I don't know. I have an idea for the build itself, but I don't really have an idea as to where out here I want to put it. So over there, I said I want like the big medieval metropolis type thing, and that is something that I'm going to stick with. But over here is where I kind of want there to be like a smaller village, like a smaller, more urban medieval village, I guess, where there's not as many houses or anything. There's like smaller families that are living out here, and you know, all that kind of stuff. I don't really know how to explain it, but I hope you're getting the idea because I'm not explaining that again. Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm thinking. So I need to figure out where I'm going to put this build. I've got most of the resources, I think, but there's a few other things that I really want to try with this build, and we'll get to that whenever I start actually piecing it together. I'm just going to kind of take a look around and start, you know, just kind of planning things out in my head, I guess. I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm trying to figure it out. So I've ran around for a little bit trying to figure out where I want this build to go, and I've been looking at it from different angles and sight lines to just kind of get an idea. I tried from in front of this build, over here by that fishing dock, and then over here on the backside of my house, and in front of the iron farm, and in front of the barn, and everything. And where I think I want this thing to go is going to be right on top of this mound. Now I need to re-terraform a lot of this because this is pretty rough terrain. And again, you know, I actually might be able to make this work. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I am thinking of putting the build up here. It's not going to be a super large build, and it's not going to be a super fancy build, but I've got some ideas. I've been inspired. So I want to try a few different things, and I want to get this area terraformed and flattened out and ready to go. So I think that's where I'm starting now. Oh, and before we get started with that, I just want to give a big thank you to you guys. I reached 1,000 subscribers recently, and I asked for questions from you guys because I wanted to do a 1,000 subscriber Q&A special. So I guess while I'm terraforming this out, we can get started with some questions. So the first set of questions comes from Warlock, who asks, what are your top 3 favorite Minecraft mobs, any other games you play when you're not playing Minecraft, and your favorite season? So number 1, it took me a little bit to think of the answer for that, but I mean, obviously I love parrots in the game. I've got 3 of them sitting inside of the starter house. And then I love the new armadillo mobs. I think they were a great addition to the game. And then bees. Bees are some of my favorite mobs in the game. They're, well, for one, they're adorable. And for 2, they add a lot of movement in an area, which is really cool. And the other games that I play when I'm not playing Minecraft, that would be pretty much single-player games like Fallout and Skyrim and things like that. Most recently, I've been playing Fallout London, which, by the way, Fallout is not very PG compared to the content that I put out. So be warned on that. But I do spend a lot of time playing those kind of games, and then, I mean, I grew up playing Pokemon and stuff like that as well. I still play that from time to time as well. So pretty much stuff like that, but I spend most of my time on Minecraft when I'm not at work or anywhere else. So yeah, it's not very often I get to play anything other than Minecraft. As for my favorite season, fall. I love the fall time of year. I love it, especially when the temperature gets to about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and I can put on my flannel and my leather jacket and be comfortable. It's just my favorite part of the year. Truthfully, I've always loved that. The next question comes from my buddy Impala, and he asks, if you could eat only 3 different foods for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? Now, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm a very picky eater. I have always been a very picky eater, and I don't really have a list of 3 different foods. I can tell you 2 for sure, but I will tell you that as an adult, I am trying to break out and experiment more with foods, so maybe I'll get less picky over time. We'll see what happens. But as for the 2 different answers that I for sure can provide, I mean, I'm just a standard cheeseburger guy. I can always eat a cheeseburger and be happy. There's never anything wrong with that, in my opinion. But I also love anything pasta. Anything pasta, whether it's spaghetti or just whatever. I mean, I've always loved it. I don't know why, it's just a favorite of mine. So the next set of questions comes from my friend the Purple Pineapple, and he starts by asking, is this a good question? Yes, that's a fantastic question. Thank you so much for asking that. I didn't think anybody would ask it. The second question is, who's been your biggest support on this journey? So here's the thing, I work with so many amazing people that I don't know that I have just like this single person that has been the biggest support. I mean, everybody that I work with through Craftworks and outside of Craftworks has just been absolutely amazing in every way. I mean, honestly, the community of people that I work with, and not even just people that I work with, but you guys as the fans, I mean, without any of y'all, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. So, I mean, really and truly, I can't single this out to just one person. I really have to say that this is on everybody, not just the fans, but on the Craftworks server as well. Everybody that I work with, all the fans, everything. I love and appreciate every one of you guys. And then my good friend Jay Figsy asks, best and worst things about having a YouTube channel? Honestly, I don't know that I have a best and a worst. I love everything that I've done with YouTube. I mean, honestly, I would say maybe the best thing is the fact that I've met so many amazing people throughout doing all of this. It's just absolutely mind-blowing. I mean, I've got friends such as yourself. I've got friends in the Craftworks server, and then Curtis Does a Dig and Armor Blue, and then all the other people that I've gotten to work with over time. And honestly, it's just meeting people has been the best thing, probably. As far as the worst thing goes, the worst thing is probably trying to schedule around everybody's IRL schedules, because so many of the people that I work with have got such various work times, and then not only do they maybe work in weird times, but they've got such different time zones that they live in, and it makes it extremely hard to schedule collaborations or anything like that. And that is probably my least favorite part about it, is trying to schedule an event with a group of people. And if you could change anything about Minecraft, what would it be and why? Honestly, I don't know that I would change anything about Minecraft. Honestly, I fell in love with the game as it was 10 years ago, and that honestly has not changed. I still look at it pretty much the same as I did 10 years ago. I mean, I love everything about it. I don't know that I would change anything. And the next question comes from Aussie G, and they ask, are you friends with the crafters in real life? I have not gotten to meet any of the crafters IRL, though I would jump at the chance to meet any of them, because, I mean, they're all such amazing people. I love each and every one of them online, and I'm absolutely sure that I would love to meet them all in person. And I know that there's a couple of crafters who have gotten to meet each other in person, but well, unfortunately, I'm not on that list yet. I do want to do that at some point, but as of right now, no, I haven't met them IRL. Okay, so I have finished terraforming this area for now, and there's still some tweaking I might do, but for now, I think I'm cool with it. I've got this whole area flattened out, and then I smoothened that area out down there, and what I'm thinking is there's going to be like a little path that connects from the one over there. It's going to run all the way up over here, and then up onto this mound. The build is going to go right here, leaving room for a backyard and a little bit of a front yard, and I can really just go heavy with the decor out here, I think. But the path is going to continue on through here, and then it's going to link up to this path right here, which should keep going and link up to the path over here. And what I'm thinking is I want to kind of dictate how the village is going to look with the way I lay out these paths. So as I am laying them out, I'm going to be a little bit more mindful about how I am how I'm shaping them and where they're leading and everything, because I want to leave room for other builds, but I also don't want to leave too much room because I don't want all of my builds to be just super crazy. Oh, and it looks like my resource packs are not working. I don't actually have shoulders. Hold on, let me fix that real quick. Okay, there we go. That should have fixed it, I think. Yeah, there we go. All right, so as I was saying, I want to be more careful with the paths that's going around here and just kind of let the paths dictate where the builds are going to go, which is a little different for me because I usually put the builds in and then do the paths around the builds. And well, yeah, I'm trying new things here, okay? But yeah, so I've got some ideas for the front lawn up here, and then for what I want to do up here. But before I can actually do that, I need to make sure that what I'm going to build is going to fit right here. And I actually need to go and get all of the blocks together for this. Where is Roach? He's all the way over here. Okay, so I know I'm going to need a bunch of different materials, and I'm actually going to try a few different materials that I have never used in builds before. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to go ahead and start collecting and start resource gathering, and I will see you guys here in a minute. All right, so I think I've got pretty much all the materials together, going ahead and start with this build. I pretty much had everything together back at the starter house, except for one material. Here's a 2-second clip of me gathering that. Alright, now that we've got all the materials, I'm going to go ahead and start laying out the foundation of this, and I figure while I'm laying out the foundation of this build, I can start answering more questions. This next one comes from my friend Izzy, and she asks, if Lucky Lane were a Pokemon, what would it look like? I'm going to be honest with you, it took me a few days to decide on an answer for this one, but I think I landed on Jolteon, and the reason being that I love electric types, and then the other one being it just looks cool, and then the last reason is, well, it's strong, but it's also delicate. It's quick, but it's also vulnerable, and I don't know, I feel like that matches me pretty well. Izzy also goes on to ask, if you had to live in any one of your Minecraft builds, which one would you choose? This one was also a hard one, but I think right now I've landed on my Craftworks Season 2 starter base, and I think it's cozy, I think it's more my style, I think I would enjoy it more, but there's also a very big part of me that would say the Steamboat from Craftworks Season 1, just because I think there's something peaceful about living on the water. I think that would just be really nice. The final question that she asks is, what question were you hoping someone would ask but didn't, and can you answer, please? Honestly, I kind of went into this Q&A without really setting any expectations for myself. I didn't know what people would ask, and I didn't really have any thought as to what I would like to answer. Honestly, if you would have asked me 500 subscribers ago, whenever I did the 500 Q&A subscriber special, then sure, but now I don't really have one, honestly. And my pal Captain Wishbone asks, how would you implement your love of music into your videos moving forward? And that's a great question. Honestly, when I started my channel, I had the intention on writing and recording my own music to put into my videos, and I still haven't gotten around to doing it, honestly, and my current setup isn't good enough for me to do it to the level that I like or to the standard that I hold myself to, and I don't want to put out any music that I'm not happy with. So I just haven't gotten around to doing that yet, but that is something that I want to do, is make my own music to put into my videos. Speaking on the topic of music, Millie asks what my favorite guitar is and what does it sound like. She demands an example. So I can't promise that I'm going to have an example of what it sounds like. Again, refer to the last question where I mentioned that my current setup is not set up very well to be able to get music recordings. We'll see what happens. I might be able to get one in here. We'll see. But as far as what my favorite guitar is, it is my unbranded Les Paul that is from the 70s. I don't know exactly what year. I'm based off the parts that it came with. I would assume 1974, 1975. And like I've played a lot of guitars and owned a lot of guitars. I've played and owned several Gibsons and Epiphones and Fenders, and I own a PRS, and then I've played some other high-end guitars as well. But to me, nothing even compares to this unbranded Les Paul. It honestly, it has this sound that just it blows my mind every time I plug it in. I love this guitar, and I bought it back in 2018 at a local mom and pop music shop, and the second that I put my hand around the neck, I knew that I wanted this guitar in my life, and I pretty well bought it the very next day when I went back in there. And honestly, I haven't looked back. I absolutely love this thing to death. It's like a one-of-a-kind guitar, and I still can't trace back exactly where it's from. I know it's from Japan. I know about the age that it is. I mean, it's definitely twice my age now, but I mean, it's an amazing guitar, and I can't speak enough about it, and I will honestly continue to ramble now if I don't cut myself off. So I'm gonna stop there, and then E asks, who are you really? Where did you hide it? And who is your accomplice? You know who I am, and you know where I hid it because you were my accomplice. And then she asks, favorite outdoor activity, and do you have a favorite mug, and if so, what is it? And if you could legally make money doing anything, what would you do? Okay, so as far as favorite outdoor activity is, honestly, I just love getting in my truck and just driving around. With the windows down and with the music up, just hanging out with a little bit of the wind blowing in my hair, and just honestly, just hanging out, just thinking, and just getting out of the house for a little bit. I'm not really all that picky about what I do when I get out of the house. I mean, my standards are not that high, really and truly. And then she asks about my favorite mug, and honestly, I've only got a couple of mugs, one of them being a Gibson mug, because it's my preferred guitar brand, and then the other one being my Imp and Skiz mug, which I recently got, and I'm honestly leaning towards that one being my favorite. It's sitting right here on my desk, honestly. And then she asks, if you could legally make money doing anything, what would you do? And honestly, I think if I could legally make money doing anything, it would be music. I've always had that passion for it, as I've mentioned in the last couple of questions, and I mean, I could honestly see myself performing for people and doing things like that, and that's always been a dream of mine anyway, so I think that's a valid answer. And then Lotster asks, how did you get into Redstone? What started your fascination with it? And how did you learn the things you know? So, as far as getting into Redstone and my fascination with it, I started that very early into my Minecraft career, just because I love putting things together and seeing how they work and trying to figure out why they work. That's how my mind learns things, is just by doing it and by figuring out the why rather than the how. Because I want to understand what makes this thing do what it does. And that's not just a Redstone thing, that's anything that I do IRL. And as far as how did I learn the things that I know, well, the way I do Redstone is simply by messing around and finding out. That's exactly how I do it. I place things and then figure out what I can do from there and see what's working and what's not working. And that's always been the way that I've done Redstone. And I mean, like the basic things like the item sorter and stuff like that, like I know how that works. And I mean, like I used tutorials on that back in the day, but now I'm at a level where I can understand why it works, and I know how to expand it into being this whole other thing. And honestly, it's as a content creator, specifically in an SMP, I find that to be an invaluable skill to have when you start learning Redstone, is trying to figure out why things do what they do, because you never know what crazy contraption you can come up with, and it, you know, not only bring the joy to yourself in doing it, but the joy in everybody else in doing it. And I guess this is a very long-winded way of me saying that I just mess around and find out. That's exactly how I learn. And my buddy Featherfetcher asks, if you were to be any kind of YouTuber besides a Minecraft one, what would it be? And I honestly don't know. I feel like I could see myself being one of those music demo channels where I am demoing guitars or guitar pedals and amps and maybe pianos or basses and things like that. But other than that, I really don't know. I feel like whatever I do, it would have to be Minecraft or music. I really don't see any other thing grabbing my interest the way either one of these things has. The final question comes from Aussie G, who updated their question from earlier and asks, will you ever do a face reveal? And so the thing is, I've got no plans on doing a face reveal anytime soon. And I'm not against people knowing what I look like. At some point, it will end up happening, and I'm sure of that. I want to be able to go to conventions and stuff later on and be able to be myself and be comfortable in my own skin, and people be able to recognize me. The whole fan interaction thing is something that I strive for, honestly. So yeah, it'll happen at some point, but right now, I've got no intention on it. And I should also add that I honestly don't care if the internet knows what I look like or not. Honestly, all the crafters already know what I look like. But as far as doing an official face reveal, no, I don't plan on doing that right now. But at some point, I'm sure it'll happen. All right, so I'm finally done with this build, and well, I'm happy with it, but there are some firsts in here for me, and I'm not entirely sure how I feel about it, but it's up now, and I'm not tearing it down, so we're going with it. This is going to be the house for the Mending Villager, so I need to go all the way over to that Savannah village that's nearby and get a Mending Villager and then bring him back over here. But I wanted him to have a place to live. I didn't want to go all the way to the Savannah village every time I needed a mending book or anything. So I'm just going to go on ahead and bring him over here. But before I do that, I wanted to show off this build just a little bit. So there's probably a couple of things here that you've noticed straight away. One of them being there's no overhangs. I know, that's blasphemy, right? I've been playing Minecraft for the better part of a decade now, a little over a decade now. And this is the first time in the last 10 years, mind you, that I have actually built a house without an overhang. I feel like this is, it's unnatural. It's really unnatural for me, but I don't know, I'm kind of happy with it. Now, I recently watched a Whip video where he did a build without an overhang, and then I watched a B-Dubs video where they didn't do an overhang, and well, both videos that I watched, I watched and I told myself there's no way in the world that I would ever build something like that. I think it looks ugly, I think it's hideous, and then here I am. And I actually think it works. So from all the way over here at the dock, you can get a glimpse of it, and there's just enough depth right there along that wall with that little windowsill up there, and then with these little signs on the wall, and then with the barrels and the leaves and everything, that the overhang is not really needed. All of this stuff on the side walls and then the front, it adds enough depth that it's not really a problem, especially if you're looking at it from way out here like this. All the depth is right here. This is where your eyes are drawn to for the most part, so that's kind of cool. And yeah, I can't get over that. I am baffled by this. And, you know, they did the same thing over here. And so these signs here are meant to look like the walls have been repaired. That's kind of what I was going for. I wanted this to be like an older medieval building that looks like it's fallen apart. And, yeah, you'll also notice that I've continued with the greenery like I did over here, where I mixed in all of the mangrove and the oak. Over here, I mixed in the oak and the azalea. And I've even got some of the azalea up there in the roof. I didn't mean to fall down here. I've got to fix all this. But yeah, so I've got that. There's a bunch of greenery here to help pop it out a little bit. Then there's moss, and then all the different stone variants as well, being the polished andesite, the regular stone, the regular andesite, then the mossy variants as well, and the regular stone, and all that. And then you'll even notice up here there are small bits of dead brain coral, and this is something that I wasn't so sure on. So I've watched B-Dubs and a bunch of other builders do this from time to time. And, well, I wanted to add some shading into this build. So if I'm all the way back here, that coral, it looks, well, it's a little darker than the rest of it. So from back here, it looks a little bit more shaded, or at least in my eyes it does. Maybe I'm just crazy, I don't know. But it works out for me, and I actually am quite happy with this. I've never done this before. So all in all, I am pretty thrilled with that. And then around the back side of the build, there's not much. There's more leafage that is flowing down through the roof, and it's coming down the side, and then all the way down underneath the porch, and it's got more barrels and stuff. So this all contributes to the depth and makes the wall more interesting. And then just to, you know, break it up a little bit, we have this little bit of oak and granite just to kind of contrast all the other stuff that's going on. That little bit of contrast, it makes a difference. It really does. And then that bamboo there, again, a very simple touch, but it really makes the difference. Now, I know you're probably thinking, Lane, how are you going to get a villager in there and then keep him in there? Because this is a very open build. Well, I thought about that after I put the build up. So down here, I've got sweet berries underneath the carpets. So this way, the villager will not pathfind over this. He will not be able to leave this way. And then I realized that I had this window here where he could probably pathfind out. I can jump up here no problem, but they can't. I actually tested this in a creative copy of the world first, just to be sure that they wouldn't be able to just hop out this window, and it seems to work because of these trapdoors that are up here. They're just right there on the top edge of that block, meaning the villagers are just a little too tall to fit in there. So I shouldn't have any issues with them trying to get out of there. And yeah, I did do a little bit of an interior for the villager. Look, it's not a great interior, I know, but it's more of an interior than any of my villagers have ever seen before, so he better be happy with it. Okay, that's all I have to say. He's got a little kitchen in here, and paintings and whatnot. This, I guess, could look like a family photo. I don't know. It's still creepy either way. He's got his own bed, got a little carpet here, and then a little bit of seating and stuff like that. And that's pretty much it. Now I'm gonna put a lectern in here because, well, mending villager. But other than that, I think I'm pretty well done with this build. I need to connect up the paths and stuff. And I've been trying to figure out what I'm going to do about a retaining wall going all the way around this thing because, well, you know, in my usual retaining walls in all of my other worlds, they're gray. And if they're not gray, then I end up doing these walls with these leaves. But I've got leaves and I've got gray all in this build. So no matter how I outline this build, it's going to look a little weird. So I'm going to have to figure that out. But that's not a problem for me today. I might even just wait another day to come out here and do this retaining wall. I might do it off camera or something. I don't know. We'll figure that out. But I definitely need to get the paths and stuff put in, but I will do that after I get the villager moved over. So this direction, after everything loads in, going north is where that Savannah village is. And now directly south, well, not really directly south, but over here in this corner is where that one village is that I brought up like episode 1 that I talked about doing a village transformation at. I honestly forgot where it was. It's down here. I wanted to do that one because it's a plains village, and then I realized that all the villagers are dead, so I'm gonna have to stick with this one up here. And yeah, this should be easy. All I have to do is grab a boat and then travel all the way down through here and then all the way up here, and then grab a villager from there and turn him into a mending guy and then bring him all the way back. I don't plan on curing him or anything like that in this episode because that's going to be a lot of extra work that I don't really want to do right now, and for it to be the only book I'm buying at the moment, I don't really care to do that at the moment. At some point I'll get like an official villager trading hall set up, and then that'll happen, but for right now I just need something to kind of fill the spot. So yeah, I've been rambling enough. I need to go on ahead and travel over there to that village and start getting a villager set up. Okay, so update. I'm over at the Savannah village now, and I've been re-rolling trades with this guy for about 45-ish minutes now, and finally got mending. So you know, I actually did get mending a few other times, but each time he was charging like an outrageous price. Or well, not this guy. I had another guy over here, and I kind of accidentally angered him, and he jacked up the prices. So I swapped guys, and now I've got this one. This is the cheapest one I've seen since I've been over here, and I happen to have just enough emeralds back home for me to actually go ahead and lock in this trade, and that is it. So I only have the one, and I need to be bringing more villagers back, so this way I could actually set up an iron trade, which is why I brought all of this iron over here to begin with. Not realizing that I'd have to trade with them beforehand. Yeah, it is what it is. It's been a whole complicated mess. I'm about to carry this guy all the way back to his new house, whether he likes it or not, and frankly, I'm tired of messing with villagers already. Alright, so the villager has already been transported over now, and you can see that I've gone ahead and laid out some paths going around the area. And what I'm thinking is there's just going to be things filling in this area, and then filling in right here, and then there's going to be stuff back here as well. And honestly, this road back here might even get moved back a little bit, because I've kind of imagined like a little bit of a dock going all the way around out here. Not really sure just yet. I haven't planned anything, as I've said several times throughout the series so far, but yeah, that's kind of been the goal. And I've got this guy moved in, and as you can see, he's a little eager to try to get out of here. I figure I'm probably gonna have to go back to the village and break all the beds, because I think that's where he's trying to pathfind to. I even give him his own bed, and he's just not happy with it. This one literally came out of his house, and I just moved it over here. And yeah, that's the thing. So he's a little eager, but with his house being right next to, well, the sugarcane farm, I went ahead and decided to bring a bunch of paper over here and start trading with him for emeralds. Okay, that was laggy. I figured I'd go on ahead and do this part at least and get some emeralds stocked up, so this way I can start, well, trying to save up for more mending books, because I'm gonna need mending books for pretty much everything. I'm not going to make you guys watch all of that off camera, or well, on camera. I'm going to probably do it all off camera, just so this way you can kind of get an idea of what's actually happening. I actually really like the lantern trade, but I've got unlimited iron, so that's not important, but nice to have. Anyway, yeah, so the point is I'm just going to keep trading with him for these emeralds, so this way I can get all of the mending on here, and I'm not going to make you guys watch all that because that'll be kind of boring and everything. And yeah. So I've got quite a bit done today between the Q&A and getting this whole build put together and getting him moved in and everything. It's been quite a challenge, I must admit, but it's been fun. It's been enjoyable, and this is a really different style for me, and I'm really happy that I went ahead and did this. At first, I wasn't so sure about how I felt about the dead coral up there, but honestly, it's starting to grow on me. I kind of like that being tied in with everything else. It's honestly pretty nice. So, yeah, I've got to find more buildings to use that in. I think that's a really cool block. But, yeah, other than that, I think that is just about it. I think that'll pretty much do it for today's episode. As always, if you've enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to like the video, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. My name is Lane, and I will catch you guys in the next one.